heading to the polls once again. In what seems to have become a regular weekend pastime, Italians began voting on Sunday on a two-day referendum. The key issues: the future of nuclear power and the controversial legitimate impediment law. But as for most elections since he became Prime Minister for the fourth time in 2008, this is also a vote of confidence on Silvio Berlusconi. The legitimate impediment law, which allows ministers to skip court hearings when busy with government duties, was passed by Berlusconi's government and is seen by his critics as a blatant way of protecting the Prime Minister in his 4 ongoing trials. One on having had sex with a minor, the others on abuse of office and corruption. Berlusconi's plans to restart the nuclear program in 2009 caused outrage among environmental groups who have lobbied intensely to make sure Italians will vote against it. Some of those voting this morning used the referendum to send out a strong message to the government.
Siamo molto coinvolti.
I hope this vote will help somehow. The government might not fall, but they'll have to understand that we've had enough.
You know, citizens must be left free to choose, but when somebody like him owns 7 television stations, plus newspapers, it's difficult to make real decisions. It's not a matter of right-wing or left-wing, it's a matter of allowing people to decide with their own ideas.
Failure to reach the quorum of 50% plus 1 voter will make the referendum void. Silvio Berlusconi has already said he will not vote and that he's going to spend the weekend by the sea. As the sun has been shining all across Italy, many Italians might decide to follow his example and postpone to Monday the decision on whether to vote for this referendum. Claudio Lavanga, Al Jazeera, Rome.
Let's cross live now to Rome, where Alan Fisher is standing by. Alan, there's been quite a turnout.
We're talking at around about 29%, which is the 3rd highest in historical terms for referenda of this kind across Italy. So that will hearten the anti-nuclear groups who were saying that people had to get out and vote because, as Claudio was saying in his report, they have to get 50% of the voters plus 1 for the votes even to be counted. So they were saying those who were against the ideas that were being put forward here to ban the nuclear power, to drop the idea of politicians being protected in court, all they had to do was not vote, and that would help them too. So it seems that this idea of marshalling support, getting people out to the polling stations, even though it's been a spectacular day here in Rome and across Italy where the weather has been good, seems that people are still getting out, casting their votes, and of course they can continue to do that late into Sunday and then again until afternoon on Monday.
Alan, how is the vote likely to affect Silvio Berlusconi himself?
Well, with him saying please don't vote, it was a sign that he wasn't entirely convinced that if there was a 50% plus 1 turnout that he would win. Now, the environmental groups hope that they will be able to ban the expansion of Italy's nuclear programme. That was something that Silvio Berlusconi was very keen on. They think that also there is the possibility that they'll be able to drop this law that protects politicians from legal action, gives them some sort of protection while they're carrying out government business, which critics say really was used to protect Silvio Berlusconi. So if both those measures are defeated, as well as the controversial plan to privatise water services here, which is opposition even from the very powerful church here, then Berlusconi will be wounded. Not so much so that he'll have to crawl into the woods and give up government straight away, but certainly his government partners will be looking at that vote, suggesting that he no longer has the Midas touch and that they don't want to be associated with him. So there is the possibility that the coalition could fall apart. So this is a referendum on a number of issues, but it clearly is also a referendum on Silvio Berlusconi and the future of his government.